So most of you have seen the news, and as of November 1st, Snap has been cut, Snap and EBT. Now, I've never been on Snap, never had EBT, thankfully, but you know, some people do need it. What I find to be strange though, is that there's so many people kind of like celebrating this, and moreover, there's a bunch of dudes that are happy that women now have to, you know, try to scramble and trying to find, you know, something to eat or something to give their kids, whatever the case may be. And, you know, I know this segment, especially on Mondays, I use this to kind of like, you know, talk about motivation and stuff. And I will get to that. But I felt like it was kind of worth addressing only because I think it's strange. Like, if we're talking about this from a dating and relationship standpoint, first of all, why would you want to try and take advantage of a woman who's in a desperate situation anyway? Forget the morals of it, right? And forget the optics too, right? Just think about this entire process. Like, okay, you're gonna go ahead and take advantage of a woman, and you know you're gonna give her the $40 or whatever the case may be. But obviously it's a transaction, right? So like, this is how most men see sex anyway. My whole thing is though, as guys, we gotta be real about what we want out of relationships to begin with. But I think also, like, there's a crisis with men, in my personal opinion, of guys who just simply can't attract women. This isn't an attack on those dudes or anything, but when you find yourself happy that, you know, women are losing their SNAP benefits, or just families in general, because it's not just single women, and, you know, ironically enough, it's not just black women that are losing their SNAP benefits. Fun fact, there are more white people on SNAP and EBT than black people. Black people just so happen to be the face of SNAP and EBT simply because Ronald Reagan ran with this whole propagandized theory of the welfare queen, and that's, you know, been common throughout politics ever since. So it's funny how like perspective is everything. In the last video I made last Monday, perspective is a bitch, and you know, I still think that's true because, again, like, you're excited that women might hit you up for $40, but like you don't realize that you're still just a trick at the end of the day. Like, you had to wait for calamity. just think about the logic behind this. Like, you're excited women and families don't have SNAP or access to any sort of, you know, government program. And throughout that celebration, you now realize it's an opportunity for you to get laid. Just think about that. Like, you had to wait for calamity to strike for you to have a chance of getting laid. What does that say about us as men? I mean, not all of us, certainly not me, but, you know, what does that say about us as a collective, right? Like, y'all are happy these people are starving so you can get your dick wet. That screams pathetic. I'm sorry, that screams pathetic. Nothing worse than seeing like a bunch of videos of old ass dudes who are like, you know, twice my age, 2.5, you know, my age, and they're excited, they're happy, they're like, oh, these women are fucking for $40. I personally, that just seems pathetic. Like, you couldn't pull until they had a, you know, like a catastrophe. I don't know. I'm high this morning. It's not even Monday at the time of me recording this. It's fucking Sunday. So that's just my thought process. But, you know, moreover, I don't know, I just feel like the commentary on just how everything is going makes more sense as opposed to the motivation, because, you know, like I said last week, I find it hard to want to come out here and motivate y'all. I mean, listen, it really depends on, quote unquote, whose side you're on, right? But I think anyone who's just a normal person, a normal individual, not a normie per se, but, you know, someone who's just trying to get their money and stay out the way, like, I know some of y'all see the stuff that's happening around you, like your local area, across the nation, maybe even across the globe. And I know you're looking at this and you're like, man, none of this shit makes sense. I think none of it makes sense. And I'm not even up on this shit all the time. I can imagine people that are watching this shit damn near 24/7 that might think of that, you know? And I don't care who you voted for. You can't tell me that you're happy all of this is happening. Like, you have to be a sycophant in order to believe that. And if you are, man, good for you. But I'm not gonna lie, being edgy and like hateful, that shit is so cringe, bro. Like, yo, that shit is so cringe. Don't get me wrong. I hate people equally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not bigoted or racist by any means, But you bet your ass, I hate people off the merit of themselves, not off the merit of their skin color. I don't care who you are. If I don't like you, I don't like you, not because of your skin color. Although, to be completely honest, sometimes some people might lend credence for one to have a notion like that. And it works both ways, right? Say what you will about that statement, but it is what it is. Moreover, I just think it's mad cringe. Like, what other way to tell people that your life sucks other than letting people know your life sucks by way of hating other people for no reason? Like, come on, man. And for the guys out there that are excited that women are now starving for food, or just families in general, what better way to let the world know that you suck at attracting women than by celebrating their demise? What better way to show people that you cannot attract women to save your life than to be the guy who's actively participating in online celebration of people losing their benefits? Which leads me to another question, because honestly, I'm a tax-paying citizen, right? I work for myself, I fill out my own 1099s, and I pay a lot in taxes, right? My question is, how much do you think you're actually spending in SNAP and EBT benefits? Like, I'm not a numbers guy, right? I don't know, the policy percentages, but I can assure you, your money goes more to the nameless state that I can't say than it does to its own constituents when it comes to the very basic human needs, such as food. We got neighbors out here this morning, y'all. But no, seriously, how much do you really think is coming out of your paychecks? Or for those that are self-employed, how much of that do you really think is going back into your back taxes? How much of it? And I'm sure you could write it off. There's got to be a write-off somewhere. But no, seriously, it's something worth considering, because up until the politicians have put all of this in our faces, who was genuinely upset about this stuff to begin with? Now, am I going to sit here and say that there aren't people who take advantage of the welfare system? Of course there are. And that goes across the board, right? Like, I just seen a story about a white couple that scammed $20,000 out of EBT and SNAP. What do we say now? Like, you want to blame black women and make them the face of welfare, but when everyone is doing this as well, or not everyone, but at least those that need help in the system, if the 10 or 12% of that 100 is doing that, and it's across the board, like it's equal opportunity scamming, right? Like EOS, every ethnicity is doing it, then what is the argument? Like, it's just strange. It's strange to me how people can be more up in arms about the government giving people, their own people, food, as opposed to, Lockheed Martin and, Raytheon and all these other, MIC corporations getting all this funding to continuously, blow people to smithereens. What are we doing? What is the argument here? It sounds silly to me. It genuinely sounds silly. Like, I made a skit on Instagram. Y'all know I'm an actor and shit. And I made a skit called They Got You. And it was just basically, the character I played, Lucius, he was a, demonic congressman. And essentially he just went on to tell you how, they fooled the fuck out of all of us. All of us. And I'll be honest, I didn't vote for the orange guy. At least not this year. I mean, listen, when it was him against Biden, yeah, I did vote for Trump. I'm gonna be completely honest, I did. Even when it was him versus Hillary, because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. As a Caribbean American, what Hillary and the Red Cross did to my country is simply unforgivable. So I decided I wouldn't vote for her. So, say what you will, but at least I'm cognizant enough to understand that all that bullshit he was promising based off of his previous track record was not going to match up. It was going to be some bullshit. And then in the debate, if you listen to it, he said he had a concept of a plan. Aside from 2025, I don't think he had credence enough for me to confidently say he's got a plan. And what are we seeing now? What are we seeing now? America First is a fucking lie. It's a fucking lie. And what's even sadder is that he's managed to propagandize enough people to gleefully enjoy watching their neighbors starve to death. You're willingly and happily watching people starve to death simply because you believe those that look different from you are the majority of those that are taking advantage of the system, when that is not true at all. And then at the same time, you have men that are celebrating the fact that they could finally get pussy because the pussy is now desperate. Excuse my French, but when has desperate pussy ever been good pussy? I'm just saying. I don't mean to be crass, but I got to be candid with how I'm saying these things, because it's something very strange in the air, seeing humans willingly wanting to go backwards instead of wanting to make actual progress on all fronts. The need for constant war, even though you campaign that you're against it. The need for constant division, whether that be between races or genders, whatever way we can manage to get someone divided on something, means the people will never come to a grand conclusion, which means those that are in power or hold all the leverage can continuously take advantage of those that are underneath them. I mean, listen, you can listen to everything that I'm saying and disagree with it, which is fine, very contrarian of you, but I think as the cracks begin to further deepen and spread some of these things, we'll all have more of an open eye to it. And I think at that point, that's when people will realize, like, oh, we've kind of all been hoodwinked. And we've been hoodwinked for a very long time. I'm not trying to say too much, but what we're seeing bubbling up to the surface is things that have been in the background since the very inception of this country. And personally, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So here's my motivation. And if you've gotten this far, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 10K. I want you to be a part of it, or don't be a part of it. Totally up to you. But if you like conversations like this where I'm a little more candid, these come out every Monday. I've got Wednesday and Friday videos that talk more about dating and relationships and self-improvement for men from a non-scam you perspective. Just, life lessons and stuff. So if all that interests you, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But here's my piece of motivation. The only piece of motivation I can confidently give you is, these days, I think it's more important to stick to yourself or build a community of like-minded individuals more than ever. And, that piece of information or, advice can be used by anyone, even, unfortunately, for nefarious things as well. And I think the saddest part about that is that, people might see this video and be like, yes, I must make more segmented and segregated groups amongst individuals and, fuel this hate and division, which, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But, consequences and ramifications do come for all things you decide to do. So at the end of the day, you make your bed, you lie in it. But I don't know. I just think sticking to yourself is now more important than ever. Being very deliberate about how you do things, whether that be food shopping early in the morning or, just doing the things that you do and changing up your schedule so it's more accommodating to you and keeps you out of the public eye, I think is more important than ever. And yeah, I guess be prepared for people to crash the fuck out. You're starving 40 million Americans. Time could only tell when those things start reverberating through society. And whether you're a person who is taking a part of SNAP benefits or not, you too will see the consequences of the actions of our politicians. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be a good thing. I don't know. Just what I'm thinking. These are my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see y'all on Wednesday and Friday. And yeah, that's about it. Don't get smoked. Peace.